I read in the comments below one time, and it said 2 buckets of water equals 1 infinite water source. How is that even possible? Oh. What? Well then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to... We arrived at number 10. And what is the problem with water resources anyway? I mean, look at this. 70% of the earth is made of water. That means we don't need to worry about it, right? No. Look at this. 93 to 97% of all of that water is in the seas and oceans, which actually makes it brackish, otherwise known as salty. Oh yeah, if you drink salty water too much, as if you're drinking fresh water, you're gonna die because of, well, diffusion. Google that up. While 2 to 4% is stuck as frozen ice caps, snow, and glacier, which is basically how they saved the original expedition to the Antarctic. And another 2 to 4% is stuck underground as groundwater, which we could still possibly use. And 0.1% of that water is in rivers, lakes, and atmospheres and living things. Meaning we technically only have access to 3 to 7% of all the water on Earth. And the thing is, though, that all that is actually not used for our domestic uses. In fact, most of it has gone to agriculture, the practice of cultivating plants. And because of all the agriculture and everything, we have less for use of industrial stuff, and we only also use domestic stuff too. We also use it for domestic uses, whether it's drinking water, or taking a shower, or using the toilet. All of that. Well, sadly, it doesn't just do this. If every person on this earth who has access to all that just uses this water properly, like taking shorter showers and not running the tap while brushing your teeth, I have bad news for you. Domestic use is only 8% of all the fresh water we're using, meaning it probably wouldn't even make a big impact. And 0.1 times out of a whole of 100 would be 10% of all that would be using. And then if you would have basically only have used 0.8% of all the water. Yeah, wait, let me redo that calculation. Alright, so let's just say that about 3% of all our water on Earth is usable in a feasible form, and that's times or should I just do 8%? Would mean you'd only be using this much water for domestic uses from all the total of the Earth. Wow. And it would probably just make this much impact. Let me explain with my beautiful water resources notes that I make for every video. Well, here you go. First of all, you can always place your water resources into 2 groups, freshwater and seawater. I already mentioned that seawater is about like 97% of the whole Earth's supply of water, and freshwater is only like about 3%. However, there's much more to actually see there. In fact, if you go down, you'll see that freshwater can be like split into 2 more places, groundwater and surface water. So some of the uses that I already mentioned was for domestic, industry, and agriculture. Agriculture, basically you're growing plants. Industry, you're basically making stuff. Let me try to draw a gear. There you go. And domestic usage is basically just a shower. And also drinking water. Plus flushing the toilet. And as I already mentioned, that only do 8% of all the fresh water that we'd be using. And surface water is basically stored in reservoirs underground, while groundwater is also in aquifers. Basically, these two are the same thing, except this is more like the surface water, and they're like more lake-ish. They're more like on the surface, while groundwater can be accessed and through wells. Let me just draw a piece of ground, and then there's an impenetrable thing. Oh, I just destroyed it. Let me just redraw that. Impenetrable layer of rock, and there's lots of water down there. You can basically gain access to this water by drilling a hole down there and then wrapping all that water up. That's basically what you could do. And that's what powers wells. As long as rainfall recharges the whole well, it will last forever. Unless it doesn't. Unless rainfall or something doesn't recharge it. However, we can get more fresh water by using sea salt. You're like, I thought you said we can't drink that. Well, technically we can. All we need to do is take out the salt. We can desalinate it to turn it into fresh water for our uses. And that's pretty useful too. And here are some 3 case studies. In Lake Titicaca, for some reason, they're all in either South America or China. From all the case studies that I read, they're all either from South America and China. Sorry, I'm not biased. My sources. In Lake Titicaca, a South American lake, it contains so much raw sewage, mercury, and mercury as in the red liquid stuff in thermometers, and runoff from farms that it's actually polluted it and made it unfeasible for usage. In fact, it's been shared by lots of South American countries. However, it just doesn't even amount to its usage. In fact, if you just try to use Lake Titicaca as a water source now, you would have to do lots of more expensive treatment, and you wouldn't have needed to do that if in the first place you would have polluted it. Also, runoff, I'm pretty sure we can solve that quickly. We can't just randomly take out mercury and raw sewage. We have to use expensive equipment because mercury is dangerous to us, and so is raw sewage because it has bacteria in it. Lake Tai in China has a similar problem. Nearly 700 million Chinese people drink this contaminated water. And why is it contaminated in the first place? Because the factories and farmers that have contributed to the lake's pollution, the factories dump some chemicals into it, while the farmers have runoff into it, most likely pesticides. And Lake Maracaibo, that is another South American lake, and it's polluted for different reasons. In fact, it's polluted because of the leaking oil pipelines and some sort of growing invasion weed called duckweed. And no, it's not a weed, that is a weed for ducks. To me, it looks a lot like algae, and it covered literally entire lakes, especially Lake Maracaibo. And that's why it's a terrible place to actually go fishing again, because now it's almost inaccessible. All that sewage, oil pipelines, and duckweed and sewage are killing the lake off and will render it unfeasible soon. And so, what action can we take? Well, what action can we take is several things too. You can support the National Geographic SOS movement, Save Our Seas. Also, I'm not really sure if it's a movement anymore. You can go ahead and volunteer to help clean up lakes or rivers, and you can even take before and after pictures and send them to government and make a report about it. It could probably be a good service homework if you're in the middle school. You can spread your awareness by actually emailing stuff to the government about pollution from your own home country. And of course, the easy one of them all, stop throwing too much stuff away that could harm the environment. Oh, and solve your water habits. They might not impact it much, but however, if everyone who watches this video does that, if that amounts to 5,000 or something people, then it could probably amount a little bit more than we could expect about it. You could do it less than 8% of usage, too. We could save all of that water for different uses. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. I hope to see you guys soon. Until next time, Shana out. Peace.